Marita Golden here. And this is part of my series of conversations with Black women about being the new strong Black woman. And I'm talking to women about their journey to self-care, establishing it, maintaining it, and even overcoming the obstacles that life presents to always being engaged in self-care. So right now I'm talking to my good friend, Nkechi Taifa. And Nkechi, you have an amazing life as a political activist, a political lawyer, working on behalf of the liberation of our people. So you've got a lot on your little shoulders there. She's a small woman like me, but she's a big force in the world. So now, Nkechi, let's talk about your journey around self-care, because in order to do the work that you've been doing in the world, you've had to find a way to maintain physical and mental health.
Well, it definitely was a journey. And
Sure.
I must say, we're talking about like an over 50-year journey.
Sure.
Sure. I'm saying, because back in the day when I was coming up and coming of age and in the struggle, in fact, we called it the struggle because that's what we were doing. We were struggling. I mean, meetings up till midnight, it's like there really was not self-care, at least for me. Back in those days.
Someone wrote about those meetings that the civil rights leaders had, strategizing, and everybody in the room was smoking. Because back in the day, that's what you did. The protocols that we have around health and wellness, they didn't exist then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Though I never engaged, in those, but many people around me, I did. But this was also during the time when we were beginning to become conscious about our diets, and people were becoming vegetarians, and you were becoming conscious about those things. But it did not always translate into the day-to-day work that we were doing. It's only been recently, very honestly, recently, with the ascendancy of the Black Lives Matter movement, and the young people are talking about self-care. Right. And they are incorporating that within their meetings, within their social structures. And I began to look at that and say, hey, what have I been missing out on all of these years? And so I've begun to try to begin to say no. And I've begun to take my walks and begun to really try to be serious about meditating and things along those lines. I have a long, long way to go because I missed a lot. But I'm really glad that my eyes are now open to the fact that we need this, not just to survive, we need it to thrive. And in the work that we do, Marita, we got to thrive, Yeah.
Definitely. Talk about the specific, what was the moment when you said, okay, I've got to develop a regimen. I've got to develop certain habits. And how have you maintained them? And what do you do?
Well, I think for me, it's a situation where everything is coming down at once. I'm the quote unquote quintessential strong Black woman, the title of your book, which really is a misnomer. That's the outside persona. But inside, I have a lot of frailties. Okay. And it's like one thing on top of another thing on top of another thing. And at some point, I just had to say, slow down. I've got to take care of myself, because if I don't take care of myself, I cannot be of service to the world, which is what my life has been.
Please, definitely. One of the things I did in the book is I gave myself permission to write from the perspective of Fannie Lou Hamer, Rosa Parks, and Harriet Tubman, telling their stories. And I had them talking about their vulnerabilities, their tiredness, their fatigue, the ways in which even the Black community had let them down, and they had overcome that. And that was really, really empowering. As I've written this book, someone asked me, what did I learn about myself from writing this book? And I learned about myself, how much more I have to do. That I had this image of myself as I'm the poster child and I'm complete. But in writing this book and really analyzing my life and looking at it, I said, well, it's not a destination, it's a journey. Because, for example, I'm 71. And so at this age, there are new challenges. So I have to adapt my self-care regimen around the changes in my body. Girl, I've even started hiking. I've added hiking to my self-care regimen. So I'm trying to keep going up and up. So specifically, what do you do? People always ask, what do you do? What are the things that you do that work for you to keep you healthy?
So pre-COVID, I loved to travel. I had a travel business. I did a lot of cruises. I loved it. It was just relaxing. It got me away from that cell phone and from that computer, and it just let me absorb myself within myself. But then during COVID or whatever, that's when I started walking. That's when I started walking retreat. That's when I was able to listen to podcasts and listen to things that I just wasn't able to listen to during the normal course, and self-care stuff as I'm walking. It wasn't just music. It was information feeding into my mind while I'm in that rhythm of walking. And that really was my self-care. I want to incorporate swimming. In terms of the pools, everything kind of got shut down
Right.
to COVID. But these are the things I want to do. I want to get back, to travel. I want to start enjoying life.
Yes.
Honestly, I have not really enjoyed. I've always been work, struggle, do for others, and I want to do me for a change. And I'm looking forward to, hopefully when this pandemic, slows down, that I can get back to some of these things. I'm basically fit because I've been walking. Okay.
Right.
I don't have serious health challenges.
Right.
And I want to do me, because I think, Marita, when I do me, I think I can do better for the things that I do outside of me, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. And that is a perfect way to end this wonderful conversation. Thank you, Nkechi. You're beautiful.
Thank you, Marita. Following after you.